It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to do a second video. It's Thursday, June 15th. I'm calling this part 3. This morning, I posted a video that I did an interview with Paul Boardman, and Paul Boardman is the chairman of Decouple China. I thought Paul was very insightful. He's got some great information. He's a great resource. He's disgusted with the Communist Chinese Party. He's disgusted with some of the attributes of the Chinese Communist Party, and he's very well versed and educated on Communist China. And he's helping our senators and our governors and our congressmen. Folks, at the end of the day, this is a serious damn issue. And today's episode is going to be about another response Lexmark sent out, and I'm not real happy with the response they sent out. I'm going to show it on the interactive board, and we're going to kind of go through it. Tomorrow, I'll continue this episode as part 4. But let's jump into this response that Lexmark put out there. Let me just read this thing, then I'm going to go back through and share some of my thoughts. What are the allegations? This is a question answer. Facts. So Lexmark sending this out. This is an internal document, by the way. This is an internal document. Lexmark has still not publicly addressed this. There's nothing on their website publicly addressing this. What they've been doing is sending stuff to dealers and sending stuff to the internal teams because we're trying to figure out how we can sell more products, even though the Department of Homeland Security has banned their largest investor, as they call him, I call him their owner, and 8 of its subsidiaries from bringing products into the U.S. supply chain. So let me read this. Let me read this response, this question and answer Lexmark sending out the team. What are the allegations? The U.S. Department of Homeland Security on June 9th added Ninestar Corp and several of its subsidiaries to a list of Chinese companies banned from importing products into the United States over alleged connections to forced labor in China. They send you to the link. Ladies and gentlemen, the link they send you to, you don't really see the banned subsidiaries. You got to kind of dig around. It's very complicated. They could have put a link there to the actual companies, to the actual subsidiaries that are banned, so it would make it easier for people to see this. I just thought I'd throw that out there to you, Lexmark. When did Lexmark become aware of these allegations? Lexmark learned of these allegations when they were announced by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security on June 9th. June 9th, and we still have no public response to this. June 9th, and we still have nothing coming from the CEO of this supposedly independently governed company called Lexmark in Lexington, Kentucky. June 9th, since this broke, we've got nothing from the chairman of the board of Lexmark, supposedly this independently governed company. A little bit disturbing. You kind of wonder, are they really independently owned and governed? Because you would think they'd be all over this. You'd think they'd be standing on that front lawn in Lexington and they would tell the whole world, rest assured, Lexmark customers, if we find anything connected to any of your products, we are not only going to make it good to you as a customer, we are going to completely disavow ourselves from Ninestar. Because we think it's outrageous that Ninestar would be affected, not be able to bring in product into the U.S. supply chain based on the UFLPA. We think that is so outrageous and disgusting, and we're going to do everything we can to get to the bottom of it. To me, that's a response, Lexmark. That also takes a little bit of boldness. That also takes some action. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Is Lexmark implicated in the order? No, Lexmark is not connected to these allegations and is not part of the order. We operate as an independent company under a national security agreement in place with the U.S. Department of Defense, DOT, and Homeland Security. Folks, I'm so sick of hearing about this independency around Lexmark. When you click on that link that's in this letter, it takes you to Lexmark's website where they cursively define this national security agreement. Why doesn't Lexmark just share the actual national security agreement that they have between Ninestar, Lexmark, how Homeland Security is involved? What are all the details of that national security agreement? Lexmark, it's time you publicly publish that because your major investor, as you call him, I call him your owner, Ninestar, is banned along with 8 of its subsidiaries from bringing products into the U.S. supply chain. And how is Ninestar not connected to Lexmark? How is Lexmark not connected to Ninestar? According to you, they're your major investor. According to me, they're your owners. You are connected to Ninestar by association. And trying to pretend you're not connected to them is a little bit ridiculous. Since Lexmark represents over 80% of Ninestar's total revenue, that'll be in part 4 tomorrow. Is Ninestar a supplier for most of Lexmark's products? No. Folks, I'm not even going to read past no because that's just so stupid. No? Folks, Ninestar bought Lexmark in 2016. They own over 60% equity in that company. I don't care how they're governed here in the United States of the free world. They didn't buy them so that Lexmark could go buy a bunch of products and supplies and services from other people. They bought them so they could sell their toner, so they could sell their supplies, so they could sell their chips, so they could put that stuff in that equipment. That's why they bought them. And if that's not the accurate statement, then Lexmark, quit saying no and share exactly what you are buying from other people. And then we can do the percentage of cost. Here's how much we spend with Ninestar. Here's how much we spend with other people. What is Lexmark's response to these allegations? We are stopping shipments of Ninestar and its affected subsidiaries to the United States. Can't read any more past that. Let me read that sentence again. We are stopping shipments from Ninestar and its affected subsidiaries to the United States. What about the rest of the world? Are you stopping them there? Are you going to go ahead and just send them to Russia? Because they'll accept them. You're going to send them over there to North Korea? They'll probably accept them. I mean, what? You're going to send them to the countries that haven't put bans in place yet? Quick, let's make sure we get this stuff over to Canada. Let's make sure we get this stuff to the EU before they start banning Ninestar. Ladies and gentlemen, I get it. This is tough. We've got really good friends that work at Lexmark around the free world. I get it. But they cannot gaslight this. It's just so pathetic to me that our industry's media and analysts have completely ignored this story. One of the biggest stories in our industry's history. This impacts our industry in so many ways. This impacts our country in so many ways. This is the alarm bell against the Chinese Communist Party and the threats of companies being bought by PRC companies. In 2016, Lexmark and that board made a decision to sell to Ninestar, and they need to live with that decision. They need to stand up to it. And if they need to stand up to Ninestar, they need to stand up to it publicly. They should be outraged by this. Not in emails back and forth to sales reps, trying to teach them how to sell more stuff during this crisis. Trying to teach them how to diffuse the conversation during this crisis. I can't even read any more of this. It's so disgusting. When they send you to the link, this is where you end up. You end up to this DHS ban on imports from 2 additional PRC-based companies. The article, everybody's already read it on the Homeland Security page. It's the first video I did. They could easily send you the link to this. That way those 8 subsidiaries just pop up. And then you, as the industry, you as end users or customers of Lexmark can look at this list and then start saying, okay, how do these subsidiaries intertwine with Lexmark? Stay tuned to tomorrow's episode. I'll share some more on that. But ladies and gentlemen, here's the National Security Agreement, the link. National Security, this is what they say, National Security. Who cares what you think about it? Why don't you share the actual National Security Agreement? I think it's way past time for you all not to be doing that. So Lexmark, I got a couple of questions. Does Lexmark have a morals clause in the contract with Ninestar? Do you have a morals clause? Because I believe that uses slave labor completely violates any moral clause any company would have with another company. So I'm asking the question to Lexmark, and I hope Lexmark does, and I hope Lexmark will publish the moral clause. Next question. Under the National Security Agreement, can Lexmark terminate the Ninestar investment based on violation of national laws? Look, this is not going to be an easy thing for Lexmark. There's no doubt about it. Lexmark it has a big decision to make as an organization. And if they are going to govern that thing autonomously, they better start governing it. And if they are going to be the driving force behind Lexmark to the free world, they better get out in front of this, because June 9th is a long damn time ago to be sitting quiet. And at the end of the day, the world needs some answers. Tomorrow, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into this. We're going to go into the list. I'm going to share my thoughts on the subsidiaries that showed up on a consolidated statement of Lexmark for the year ending December of 2021, to the subsidiaries that are on their annual report that's on their website. What a difference there. What do you see that, ladies and gentlemen? A lot's happened in the last 6 months, I guess. I'm going to share with you the revenue details around Lexmark and how that revenue represents about 80% of all the revenue Ninestar does. I got more questions for Lexmark, but at the end of the day, Lexmark, it's time to face the reality of what's going on all around you, and you have to get out in front of this. Sending out internal letters to your team, hoping that all this just goes away, is not the answer. And where you're saying that you're going to stop shipments to the U.S. by affected products, that is just absurdity. You should be stopping shipments all over the world, regardless whether they got bans or not. That alone makes me question Lexmark's integrity. Sorry, Lexmark, but this is the reality of the world we live in. And everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for part 4.